Hello and welcome to 360 Sports on Trust TV. I am Emmanuel Fashimi. We've got a whole lot on the show this morning, and we'll be looking at some stories, Nigerian sporting story, and then we'll go straight to the foreign stories because we need to talk about our own. And they say charity begins at home, so that is why we'll be looking at Nigerian stories. And we're also looking at how Team Nigeria is preparing for the Paris Olympic Games, saying one or two about the Paris Olympic Games that is just 20 days away from now. We'll be having the Paris Olympic Games right there in France. But we'll be looking at some competitions that Nigerian team Nigeria, individual team sport, they are participating in, preparing them for the Paris Olympic Games. And this morning we'll be starting from table tennis, where Aruna Kadri will be participating at the Indian Ultimate Table Tennis Draft Tournament. Is a good one. This is his fourth appearance in this particular competition, and that competition starts today right there in Mumbai, India. It is another way of preparing himself for the Paris Olympic Games after getting that qualification. And top table tennis stars in the world will be in this particular tournament right there in Mumbai, India. The likes of Benedetti, who will be making his third appearance, for our own Aruna Kadri, will be making his fourth appearance. These guys are ranked number 16th in the world in the WTT ranking. The likes of Mittelham, who's number 17th in the world, will also be there. We'll have quite a number of players, and home favorite Sirija, who came to Lagos, where he won the Lagos International Table Tennis Tournament, the WTT Contender Tournament in Lagos, will also be there. So it's a packed full tournament with top stars when it comes to table tennis. We have Sirija Akula winning the WTT Contender here in Lagos, would also be there. So it's a good one for Aruna Kadri, preparing himself for the Paris Olympic Games. We are happy that we are looking at some of our individual players, individual talents who have already qualified for the Paris Olympic Games, taking part in some of these competition. The event starts today right there in Mumbai, Indian. I don't know if Dan Amasiga is ready to join up on the show. Okay, Dan, welcome to 360 Sports on Trust TV. For Aruna Kadri, number 16th in the world, he will be making his fourth appearance at this particular table tennis tournament in Mumbai, India.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me once more on the program. Let me start by saying that it's quite a very interesting opportunity given to him because as we speak, at 35 and ranked 16 in the world, is at the twilight of his career. So every opportunity, he's going to be making his fourth appearance actually in this competition. And I can assure you that this is going to be a very good opportunity for him to showcase what he has to offer. Invariably, this is the kind of world stage that you have players of this. He still ranked higher than any other African player in tennis. Even the Omar Hassan, who defeated him for the gold medal at the All African or African Games at Ghana just recently, is ranked 22nd in the world. So it's an opportunity for him to go out there and showcase because at 35, he has very limited time to still do what he's doing best. So we hope that this will afford him the opportunity and the nation, the upcoming stars will be looking onto him for guidance in years ahead. So this is the kind of big stage that he needs to sign off. Let me use that word.
Okay, this kind of big stage he needs to use to sign off. At 35, he's still doing big things, ranked number 16 in the world, ahead of the likes of Omar South, Egypt, and co, who are quite younger than Aruna Kadri in age. Like I said, he's also using this tournament as a preparatory ground for the Paris 2024 Olympic Games that is just weeks away from now in France. All right, still talking about tennis. We used to call it lawn tennis, but at some point they have to just shorten it to tennis. It's the Wimbledon that is ongoing in UK, England, precisely and the big boys have actually separated themselves. The men have separated themselves from the boys, and it was quite an epic game yesterday, right there in court 1, 2, and 3 for the big guys when it comes to tennis. Let's go to Wimbledon now. Alcaraz battles Medvedev in the semi-final of the Wimbledon tournament in England. Alcaraz is quite an interesting quarterfinal game. He left it late, but though beating Tommy Paul in that particular set.
Is that of course everybody's looking forward to see how far he will go. But the truth of it is that tennis is getting very competitive. When the big heavyweights are not there, then others will actually begin to take the center stage. But as it stands now, this is an opportunity for him actually to see if he can be able to take it a niche higher than what he has been doing over time. But one thing is that Wimbledon has become a defining moment for tennis players in the world. And so this opportunity given to each of them is an opportunity that they must utilize, because I am foreseeing in the nearest future new faces emerging in the face of tennis in the world. So as it stands now, I think let us look forward and enjoy the tennis in Wimbledon.
Okay, I enjoyed the tennis for Alcaraz. He defeated Tommy Paul in 3 sets, 5-7, 6-4, 6-2, 6-2 in that particular game. And for Danny Medvedev, it was quite also an interesting match for him, and it's going to be a repeat of what happened last time out, though in the finals, where Alcaraz defeated Danny to lift the US Open in 2023. For Alcaraz, 23 years of age, already a Grand Slam champion, winning 2 Grand Slam titles. He will be going for the 3rd one right there in England. For Alcaraz, congratulations to both players, because they will be meeting in the semi-final of the Wimbledon Championship, that is ongoing at this point in time. All right, let's leave tennis and look at our various teams. This time around, let's go to Cadet football matters, the women's side, where the Flamingos are preparing for the 2024 FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup in Dominican Republic. But a couple of friendlies have been lined up, and information from the Glass House is that the Flamingos will face Mexico in a friendly game. They are in the same group with the host country, which New Zealand also in that group. Dan, for the Flamingos, the last edition they did well, and this time around they want to take it a step further.
Yeah, we are very correct. The last time in India, it was quite a very outstanding performance by the Flamingos. And so every Nigerian is expecting them to do far better than what they did in the last edition. So the Nigerian Football Federation, kudos to them this time around for giving the team the opportunity to prepare. And I think this is one way to get the right motivation, because when you prepare these teams adequately, give the coaching crew all the exposure they need to go all out to ensure that they prepare the teams adequately for competitions, you get the best out of them. With the kind of friendly lineup for them, I have no doubt in my mind that the team will be very mentally and physically prepared to confront the host Dominican Republic in the opener. Mexico is a good side. Of course, we all know that all these American sides are always good in tennis. So when we see Nigerian Flamingos taking on such teams, we do know that it's going to give them the opportunity to have an idea of the kind of competitions that they might likely confront them in the course of the competition. So I want to really commend the Nigerian Football Federation for getting this right.
Okay, for getting this right. Still talking about the Flamingos in that group. I spoke with somebody some time ago. You know, when you're playing against the host, psychologically, it has a way of affecting the players. At this stage, how well do you think these guys can handle the pressure of facing the host? You know, the fans and everybody will be behind. They will be playing against 12 players, because right there, 11 players, the fans are the 12th player when they will be confronting Dominican Republic in their group.
Well, one thing I want to just bring to the fore at this point is this. Some of these guys actually have been playing professional football even though they are relatively young, especially in the Nigerian league. Most so, one of the things that we do have against the Nigerian female league has been that it's more or less an abridged version. To me, it has not really lived up to the prefix of calling it a core professional league. But be that as it may, the opportunity this girls has is that the Dominican Republic is actually an emerging force in female football. But to say that these girls will be overwhelmed or, cowed by the crowd, I don't really want to see it from that perspective. They know what is at stake. They have been to a bigger stage where they went to the World Cup, and some of these girls have actually had the opportunity. The coach is an experienced coach, so I don't think he will lack the right words to motivate them. He will motivate them to ensure that you are playing against 11 versus 11. All you need to do is get the goal ball into the net. And once that happens, nothing is going to change, whether host or not. We saw what is happening in Euro, even though I'm sure we might come to that later. The fact remains that hosts are always beatable, especially in opening matches. Host countries are always cagey when it comes to opening matches against any strong side. So I don't want to believe that the Nigerians are in any form of any disadvantage going into the opening against the hosts.
Okay, going into the opening against the host for the Flamingos under coach Bankole Olowokere, they want to take it further. The last edition in Indian, they came third, and this time around they are gunning for the gold, becoming the first African women's team, that is under 17 team, to win the under 17 women's World Cup. That is their aim, just the way we have our under 17 guys winning the World Cup more than any other country in the world 5 good times. The the Golden Eaglets have lifted the Cadet World Cup. So, all right, let's leave that story and quickly let's go straight to Europe. This time around, our focus on the show this morning, we'll be looking at a whole lot have been said, a whole lot have gone under the waters, but this time around, let's look at the focus. Victor Osimhen, we'll be focusing on Victor Osimhen. A whole lot, like I said, has gone under the water, and the preseason has started. Victor Osimhen is part of the Impact Nopis who resumed preseason training amid transfer rumors. Then a whole lot has been going on, and for Victor Osimhen, he joined the squad for preseason activities.
Well, that is the professional way of behavior. I think his conduct is very professional. No suitor has come calling, and I think no marriage has been consummated. So he has no option but go back to where he actually has been before the break. So I think that is a professional way of any player actually conducting himself. He has conducted himself professionally. He has to go back. Whatever there is going to be a deal between now and the close of the transfer window, I guess it's not within his own making. It's between the clubs that will be doing the business. So he has to first of all report back to camp, go to training, and keep himself in a very good shape. Because if any potential suitors eventually consummate any marriage or transfer, what that implies is that he must be in a very good shape to go to the new club, because the league season will be commencing in a new club who is coming to snap him up. So head or tail, I think he can still hold his own high by going back to the club, which he has done, and in fact do the best he can to see that he make his stay there memorable. We saw what happened in the transfer saga involving Mbappe and PSG. He has to sit out the duration of the contract. When eventually he discovered that the price that PSG was asking for was actually outrageous, and Real Madrid was not actually willing to pay that amount. So I just hope this does not really play out in that same fashion. But in any case, Osimhen is doing the right thing by going back to camp, and let's see how it's panned out. But one thing is for sure, if we're going to see a contract emerging from this transfer rule,
look at it this way. Do you think because Manchester United showed interest and Arsenal, who were at the forefront of it, or Arsenal were even
West was actually the player that actually sounded that warning to him that, well, he will have gotten very good offers across some big European club side, but because of certain disciplinary issues, he missed out. And I think it was food for thoughts, and I'm sure we discussed it. There is no doubt about it that Osimhen did not really write his name in gold as far as those episodes were concerned. But hopefully, internet will not lie. Chana's advice he needs to Napoli for the training. On no condition should he allow his off the field antics to play negative impact on his career. By so doing, I'm sure he's going to be able to rewrite the bad boy posture that is actually posting out there. But from the club perspective, I'm talking of Napoli now. Napoli, I think, are wise enough to know that that asking price of 130 million was way out of the reach of many clubs. But now that they're lowering the price, I'm sure very soon, if there are serious suitors, I'm sure they'll be able to come forward to sign him.
Okay, very soon a serious suitors will come to sign him. But let's quickly say this. How well do you think Osimhen can remedy? Because no matter how we look at it, that outburst alone on the social media has really caused some things. How can he remedy that situation and bring back his image?
Well, thank you very much. I think that is the area we Nigerians media must really now help out, because there are positive side of Osimi that we must now project, and that is the area that he too, if he has publicists, I think those are the areas they must work seriously on. But again, Nigerian players, I ran into one of our ex-international. I don't know if I should mention this on air, but again, who had a very terrible experience just recently. He had a very fatal accident. I'm talking of Tijani Babangida. I ran into him somewhere in Mina, and we had a brief discussion. And he said certain things that were not really too nice. And so, but again, Nigerian media must come to the aid of Osimhen, because no matter what happened, he's a Nigerian. He has sacrificed time for Nigeria. So his team should do all they can to project Osimhen in very positive light from now onward. Then him as a person must also do all he can to see that he projects a positive image of himself, and not all this kind of shenanigans we've been hearing about him, both in club and off. And whenever he's in country, he has. I don't want to go into some of the issues because, like I said, this is a public platform. I don't want to say certain things, but the fact remains that Shime has not been having a very good reputation. He has been having problems right from the family home front, so to say, and now he is exporting it to the coach. National level, where he's having altercation with his coach, and so these are not positives for any. No matter how good you are as a player, when your positives or negatives, I beg your pardon, outweighs your positives, then you have a career problem on your hands. So I think we in the media must help Osimhen, and I mean we in the media, because this is the time for us to project Osimhen. He has been doing some charitable works. Those are the things we should be projecting. That well, it's not all bad news about Osimhen. Osimhen has some positives. So let us try as much as possible to project. And again, I don't know what is too big about Osimhen apologizing for some of his outbursts. And these are the kind of things that a professional athletes elsewhere will have taken upon themselves to say, okay, he must have a media team that will be working on these areas. And of course, if it needs to issue a statement to apologize, that it was on the heat of the moment that he said some of those things, and he sincerely wants to apologize. I mean, that is no big deal. It's not making him a coward. It does not make him less of who he is. All he has to do is to do the needful, and of course, rebuild his image, because image is very important. Image is one of the most critical things a player has to guide jealously.
Okay, player has to guide jealously. He just have to go publicly, just the way he did on that social media at Boston and apologize.
Exactly.
That wouldn't take anything away from him. He will still be the Osimhen and the best striker on the continent of Africa and even as it stands in Europe. All right, let's leave Osimhen and come back to the continent and look at this. It's a good news. They resumed for the preseason assignment yesterday. That was Enugu Rangers, but this time around going to the continental engagement. Enugu Rangers, Remo Stars will have to play from the preliminary round before they will now go into the group stage proper, and the draws will be coming up on Thursday. For Rangers, Remo Stars, this time around, we need good representation on the continent of Africa.
Okay, if I must say something here, I have more hope in Remo Stars than Rangers, even though the Rangers team is actually the reigning champion. My reasons are not far-fetched. We have seen Remo Stars going to the continental stage, but lack of experience have been robbing them each time they are at big stage. But this time around, they must have garnered in some experiences to ensure that they can be able to give a good account and good representation of the country. So I can put my money more on Remo Stars than Rangers. For Rangers, yeah, they have a tactician or a manager who I think I met him on several occasions when he was with MFM. Incidentally, it's one of the teams that I supported in those days, and I followed quietly, very seriously. So we had one-on-one counters on several occasions. But one thing I knew for sure is this: Rangers as a team does not look like a team that can be able to give a good account of themselves at the continental level. Mark you, there are still a lot of bookmakers who are actually not convinced that the Rangers were true worthy champions. But then it's not in my place to begin to add my voice to that now. But the fact remains that on the field of play, at the end of it all, they emerged the champions after 38 matches. So the Rangers are the champions. But the reality on ground does not really give me confidence that Rangers will be able to give a good account. Whether they start preparing early or not, the question is that the players I've seen in Rangers and the kind of players they might recruit, which is most likely, like most Nigerian clubs normally do, poaching some players from other clubs, will not give them that very competitive advantage over some of the best African club sides we'll see as they compete against. Most so, they are playing at the preliminary stage, which is like more or less like banana peels. So we must have to navigate through this level before we even talk about getting into the main menu. But whatever it takes for Remo Stars, I think Remo Stars has the organization, they have the structure, they have everything. I'm not always comfortable, like I used to say it in most fora that I feature in, that club sites should not be based or run by government. And any government run club sites, I'm not too convinced, because as they are going to the continental level, a lot of interest, a lot of vibes will come to play, a lot of issues will come to play. Those who did not contribute to the success of the team, before you know it, they will be at the forefront. They want to travel with the team, they want to impose players on the team, they want to partake in the estacle that the team will be. So a lot of factors will come to play in Rangers. And if we're not careful and if we don't manage this carefully, Rangers might just be like what we have seen many Nigerian clubs are in recent time participating. But I hope that I will be proven wrong at the end of the day.
Okay, for Rangers, I think they have a top management, because last season, why they actually won the league was the management coming in on ground. They were given a free hand to make sure that team gets all the maximum support. And the players they recruited was quite good players by Fidelis Ilechku. The coach actually scouted those players for himself, and that was why we saw the result. But for some section of Nigerian saying they were not really deserving champions, Mr. Dan, I don't think. Well, for Rangers, if you look at it, they did well from the second half of the season, because they actually recruited players in January.
Well, like I said, I don't want to join the bandwagon by saying that they were not worthy, because after 38 matches, if you match the best, meaning that you are the winner, irrespective of what happens along the way. But be that as it may, one thing I want to say that most Nigerians believe that our league needs a lot of improvements. That is to put it politely. But yeah, well, maybe from your own perspective, you are assuming that Rangers has a strong management. The tendencies are there, but I don't know if you have followed carefully and maybe be part of a system where teams play at a continental level. When you see these teams, especially state-owned teams, playing at the continental level, one major factor that comes to play is that a lot of tendencies comes to play, because the team will be traveling out of the country. It destabilizes most of these teams, and I mean what I'm saying. I've seen it at first hand, and I've experienced it. So if we're not very careful, Remo Start is run more professional than Rangers. I'm not saying I have anything against Rangers, but I foresee Rangers. I really don't want to believe it, but I want to believe that Rangers might not really give us the kind of competitive advantage we're expecting to see at the continental level.
Okay. Let's see how that goes. The draws will be coming up on Thursday, and both teams, Rangers, Remo Stars, and order of our teams, Academy Warriors, Eniba, will be knowing those they will be playing in the first round, the first phase of the CAF Champions League and the CAF Confederations Cup. All right, let's go straight to Europe, and quickly let's look at this transfer story. It concerns the Super Falcons player who is with the team right now in Spain, preparing for the Paris 2024 Olympics Games. Now we look at Jennifer Echegini, a player who joined Juventus ladies just last season, and after one season she's set to leave the team, and on confirmed report that she will be going straight to France to join the PSG ladies. But as of yesterday, she took to her social media to actually thank the staff, the management of Juventus for the time she spent with them and confirm her exit. Well, I think she's young and she did so well just the concluded season in the Women's League in Serie A.
I think, remember, she's just 23, so I think she has age on her side. So she has a lot of ages ahead of her. And she has played for Nigeria a couple of times too. And we know for sure that the next destination, wherever that might be, must be something that she is looking forward to, because one of the things any player is looking at for is welfare and interest of his future. So if Juventus is not offering her that, and maybe a better offer is on the offing, I think she has every right to jump ship and go where she will be appreciated and maybe valued. It's not as if she has not been valued in Juventus, because she has been given an opportunity there. She played quite a number of matches, scored about 10 goals there. So I strongly believe that wherever, because in 2019, she was in Arsenal where she caught her professional teeth before making it teeth at crossing over to Juventus. So I want to assure you that all things being equal, after the Olympics, I think if she can, Nigerian team performs well at the Olympics, the market value of this lady will actually increase, and many more clubs will be watching out for stars at the Olympics. So Nigeria has she in particular has an opportunity with the Nigerian team, whom she chooses to play for, because she has opportunity actually to play for either Netherlands or England actually, but she chooses to play for Nigeria. And for the fact that she's playing for Nigeria, she has been given an opportunity to go to Juventus. From Juventus, who knows where next she might really land. But in any case, what is important is that let the Olympic party begin and let's see what she has to offer. If she plays well as a midfielder in the Olympics, there are so many ladies out there, many female football clubs out there in Europe that will be scouting for players at the Olympics.
Okay, that is hunting for players at the Olympics. All right, let's stay in Europe. Well, yes, the big one happened last night, and the other one earlier as of this morning. But we'll start with Europe, where it was not a good story for Kylian Mbappe and the Le Blues team alongside Deschamps. At the end of 90 minutes, it was looking at as if France, they took the lead early enough, but Yamal and Olmo got some things on their sleeve, and the Le Blues were stung at the time they never expected it. 2-1 in that semi-final game between France and the La Roja of Spain.
Olmo actually won it for Spain and the 25th minute, and they were worthy winners of that encounter. There's no doubt in my mind, because a team that has scored a whooping 11 goals in the competition, conceding only 2, and 8 different players in that team have scored in the course of this Euros. So that is to give you an idea of this competitiveness of the Spanish side. They are 4-time winners of this tournament. So I think as it stands now, they are one of the top favorites to land the trophy on Sunday. But against France, France was actually poor. Let's be very, very frank about it. From the preliminary stage, they struggled all through, and knockout stage, they scrap past some teams. And we saw them actually now not really scoring goals as we expected the team to score. In fact, there is a cross section of fans in Europe that are accusing the French team of playing very boring football, which they are actually not known for. But that is actually the lot of the France team. Unfortunately, there are no third place matches or classification matches, as we call them, to determine who becomes third or so. But at least for the fact that they are the ones to be knocked out first ahead of the upcoming match today, meaning that they might actually finish fourth among the participating teams. The Spaniards actually proved that they are the bookmakers. In fact, they play the most exciting football in this tournament so far, and scoring goals for fun. 8 different players. So that means there is no particular player that you tie down in that team to say this is the star man that will do the damage. 8 different players scoring the 11 goals they've contributed so far in the journey, or in their fairy tale in this tournament. That is to tell you this is a team of the future.
Okay, this is a team of the future. Towards the ending part of that game, the Spanish team actually took their foot off the pedal, and the Le Bleu came into the game. They had a couple of chances to even take the lead. Kylian Mbappe, Bakola, Dembele, they were all culprits of missing clear-cut chances at the end of the day. But on the other side of it, what really went wrong for the French national team? Because, like you said, some section of fans accused them of playing boring football. But they were into the semi-final. They started slowly and gradually they got to this stage. But what went wrong against Spain after they took the lead?
Well, I want to believe that the Spanish team actually had this clear cut idea that the French are going to be physical, and they actually prepared for that. When the France or the Lebrus actually took the lead, it was like they never believed that they are out and down, so they came out fighting. But the French team actually has not been scoring goals. I think that's the bane of, you can't win competition without scoring goals. Yes, they were not conceding much goal, but the fact is that they were not scoring goals. And like you rightly said, if they were creating chances and you failed to convert the chances, meaning you've lost. So it is as simple as that. So they were not scoring goals, and anybody who outscore you, and of course you considered, I mean, an own goal in the 25th minute. You can imagine the duration of 25th minute you played in the first half. That 2-1 stood, and the remaining 35 minutes, 45 minutes, plus additional almost another 10, 20 minutes. You couldn't score the goal. So I think there is nothing to say whether they played well or not, because the fact remains that if you had all the ample time to score against the Spanish side and you fail to score, I mean, it does not really, and you have players who can do this. So the question is, what went wrong? What was the tactics that the coach was deploying that was not making the players, attack-minded players, not to score goals in the tournament? They didn't start it at this knockout stage. It started from the preliminary stage back you. So this thing has been there with them. And of course, we're only seeing the manifestation of how poor the French finishing was at the tournament, at this semi-final match.
Okay, how poor they were at this semi-final match. As it stands, the Spanish team, the La Rojas, will be gunning for their fifth title come this weekend, when they will be taking on any other team that will play the other game tonight. We'll still we'll get to talk about that game on our evening show. Okay, let's go straight to the Copa America. Yes, finally he got his first goal in the tournament. This early as of this morning, that game came up. The second time they were meeting, they were in the same group, in Group A, and they met again in the semi-final of the competition. For Messi on target as Argentina lands in finals. He got the first goal. Julian Alvarez getting the first goal for them, and then Messi getting the second goal in the 51st minute of that game. That game was played earlier of this morning. You know, they used to play their own games late night.
Late. Oh yeah, I'm happy for Messi. I don't know whether this phrase is getting better with age, and it's like an old wine which is getting better and better at this stage, because he has now, what has been eluding was the Copa America. He has won it before now, and he has won the World Cup, and this will just be an icing on the cake. So on the 51st minute, like you rightly said, he struck and sealed the 2-0 victory for Argentina against Canada. What this actually implies is that they still have to wait for the winner between Uruguay and is it is it Panama? Sorry, Uruguay is going to be taking on who? The Uruguay will be taking on Colombia. I beg your pardon.
Yes, yes.
And I think that is the match they'll be playing later today, or maybe early hours of tomorrow. And that is going to be determining who they will face at the final. Irrespective of the opponent, I see Messi trying to cap up his glorious career with another Copa America. If that happens, I think it is going to be a befitting send for him on the world stage. I don't think we'll be seeing much of Messi in the international stage from 2025-26. But he has not hinted of when he's quitting the stage. But I don't really see him, because the older a player becomes, he's more prone to injury. So I really want to believe that he'll be playing safe henceforth. But this was a befitting send forth, so to say, of a player of his status in such a major competition such as the Copa America.
Okay, for the Copa America, one team exited the tournament. Everybody was looking at that team to also to face Argentina in the final. That is Brazil. Let's quickly look at that quickly. For Brazil, it's as if they, what was Brazil's problem? They've not really been getting it right, even from the World Cup till now.
Okay, A lot of big teams are struggling right now. Don't forget our country, Nigeria, too, is in that category. The Brazilian national team has star-studded players in every department you can think of. They play in some of the best leagues in the world, but I think they just lack winning mentality because you need to stiffen up yourself to say you are going for it. When you fail to do that, I mean, it's just like life. Life race is not for the swift. It must be somebody who has perseverance. So if Brazil wants to bounce back, they just have to have a winning mentality. It's not lack of talent, no. It is not lack of technical know-how, no. The possibility now is that the players must believe in themselves that with or without Neymar, they can deliver. They have players who can deliver. We have the like of Vinicius Juniors, so many players you can think of that are in the Brazilian national team that on a good day can take on any team and win. So what is wrong with them is simple winning mentality. They must have that mentality to say that we are Brazil, we must be the one to dictate the pace to others. But failure to do that is what perhaps is affecting the psyche of the players. And they don't have that winning mentality. A team must have winning mentality. When we begin to see the teams like Colombia, we are beginning to see teams like Uruguay. Yeah, Uruguay is a good team any day, anytime. Now at the semi-finals, slugging out for the finals, and then Brazil is nowhere to be found. Like you said, many people are wondering what went wrong. Why will Brazil fall by the wayside? But that is the reality we found ourselves, and that is what we are seeing. But I hope they will learn from this, go back home, do the needful, and bounce back.
Okay, go back home, do the needful, and bounce back. Congratulations to Argentina. They are the defending champions of the Copa America. Let's see if they can win it again in the final. They will be waiting for the winner between Uruguay and Colombia, which we'll be talking about on our evening show later on. All right, let's quickly look at some transfer stories on the show this morning. Let's begin with this one. Chelsea is in the news again and again, where they host talk with Borussia Dortmund over deal for Karim Adeyemi. Fantastic, enterprising player. We saw how he played in the final all through Borussia Dortmund Champions League game. This guy was so good, so good. And now Chelsea under with Maresca, who talks with Borussia Dortmund for a possible deal. Do you think it's going to be a good addition for Chelsea?
Wonderful player, just at the age of 22, very young, energetic, full of life. The valuation of that player is between 30 to 35 million euros. So I think it's something that Chelsea can actually afford if they really want to offload one or two players. I'm sure they can afford it. It's going to be an addition. But the problem I always have with this Chelsea team has always been that they are almost kind of becoming a dumping ground for all the best youth talents. And if we keep on congregating all the young talents in one team, it comes to a point that some of these players will be frustrated and they begin to lose self-confidence, and before you know it, the market value will begin to drop. I just hope that acquiring him, they have a space for him in the team if the deal pushes through. Because I do know for sure that Chelsea, when they set their minds on any deal, they go all out. Because these are looking like alternative to the Osimhen they were pursuing. Since the deal is not really coming through as soon as they wanted, maybe they are looking elsewhere to see. This is a man who is just fresh from European glory. So I think getting him will kind of add more impetus to the team ahead of the upcoming season.
Okay, for Karim Adeyemi, let's see if he will be making that move to Stamford Bridge in the English Premier League. That is Chelsea. Would maybe playing with Chelsea come next season. Maresca is actually looking for a whole lot of players right now to beef up the team. All right, let's go straight to another London team again and look at this team who are champions in Europe. Last two seasons they won the Conference League. That is West Ham United. Shows interest in Aston Villa, John Duran. He's a striker, a Jamaican striker. And for West Ham, Moyes leaving the team and a whole lot for West Ham United. But this time around, they also want to see how they can, for Antonio, I think Antonio is getting a little tired, if I may use that word for Antonio. But this time around, they want to look for a more younger striker who can at least walk alongside Antonio up front.
Yeah, I think every team wants to bolster their attack line, especially with youthful players. They well, like we just what we've seen in the Euro now. where a 16-year-old Jamel actually is actually painting Euro, and imagine is one of the youngest scorers in Euro. So most players or most club side are actually going for young talents. And I want to believe that no club wants to begin to be left with the baggages of players who are above 30 or 35, 32, 31. They want to see young talents in their squad. They want to study the established players. So I think if this deal pushes through, I think it's an addition, a very wonderful addition to the team. And of course, it will go a long way to see if they can be able to really push for something spectacular in the upcoming league.
Okay, in the upcoming league. All right, let's quickly run over the two transfer stories before we go on the show because we are almost out of time. John De Sancho wants Juventus move. This guy is actually pushing to play for Juventus in the Italian Serie A come next season. And the other last transfer story is about another Manchester United striker where Marseille fans push club to stop the pursuit of Manchester United forward Mason Greenwood. And as we speak, also, I think that deal might go through because the fans fans requests might not just hold water. All right, that is where we'll be leaving it on the show this morning. Dan, thanks for joining on the show. You did a wonderful job and a great one. But as we speak right now, we'll be going straight to Kano for a live coverage of the education recovery in that state. And it's a good thing that we'll be having the education recovery in Kano State. All right, thanks for watching. I am Emmanuel Fashimi. Say bye for now.